And from now on, we'll be reading out Yeonsu Joint Declaration. We'll be having the Joint Declaration of Yeonsu, Korea. UNESCO Learning Cities Network in Asia Pacific 2020 Joint Declaration of Yeonsu. We, the participants at the 2020 First Asia Pacific UNESCO Learning City Network Conference, jointly hosted by the GNLC, Korea National Commission for UNESCO, and Yeonsu City, Incheon, Korea, a member city of UNESCO Global Network of Learning Cities and sponsored by the UNESCO Institute for Lifelong Learning and the Korea National Institute for Lifelong Education, declare as follows. We recognize that lifelong learning is becoming increasingly important in today's world and for a better future of society, and we support citizens themselves to actively cope with the new challenges and to build a better and more sustainable society through interactive connection. We agree that lifelong learning is at the core of social, economic, and cultural prosperity of individual learners, communities, and countries, and we strive to be at the core of policies of all cities, provinces, and countries in the Asia-Pacific region. We are convinced that lifelong learning is at the center of citizens' proactive responses to the global economic crisis and global pandemic crisis that may come in the future. We believe that all citizens are the key stakeholders in building a learning city. Therefore, we build a learning city with all the stakeholders of society, including the city's public and private sectors. We recognize that there have been significant improvements in public health, economic growth, crime reduction, and increased democratic participation in cities and communities that practice lifelong learning for all. Thus, we'll make lifelong learning a key policy for sustainable urban development. Recognizing that lifelong learning is an effective intermediary that connects citizens to the community, and will actively utilize it as a mechanism to connect citizens each other, local communities, and communities, cities, and countries. To this end, we established the GNLC Asia Pacific Network and will actively pursue mutual development between Asia Pacific GNLC member cities, expanding GNLC member cities through its vision, leadership, and governance, reflecting the characteristics of Asia Pacific region. Call to action. We believe that establishment of GAP, the Asia Pacific GNLC network for the Asia Pacific region, will support and improve the practice of lifelong learning in the region by promoting policy dialogue and peer learning among member cities, forging links, fostering partnerships, providing capacity development, and developing instruments to encourage and recognize progress made in building learning cities. 1. We request that all cities in Asia Pacific join the GAP to create platform that maximizes the growth and synergy of Asia Pacific learning cities through GAP. 2. We call on you to actively participate in the formation and realization of the vision, leadership, and governance of GAP to build a sustainable learning city for all cities in the Asia Pacific region. 3. We urge various stakeholders, including citizens, public institutions, NGOs, and civil society organizations, religious organizations, and other private groups from each city to actively participate to promote lifelong learning in their cities. 4. We request that member cities of GAP prioritize lifelong learning in solving specific urban problems and to solve various challenges through specific lifelong learning strategies and policies of each city. 5. We call on member cities of the GAP to actively participate in the development and sharing of effective policies, practices, and projects that can have a positive impact between member cities. 6. We urge each city to take exemplary concrete actions for social, economic, and cultural prosperity, starting with empowerment of individual citizens of member cities of GAP. 7. We call on the central government of GAP member cities to provide local governments with the basic requirements for building a learning city for all and actively support them. 8. We call on UNESCO to strongly support the capacity building of the GAP member cities for the Asia Pacific in order to be united by lifelong learning for all in the new normal era. And that wraps up the Joint Declaration of 2020 Yeonsu Network Conference.